Will I split it with one strike, or do you think it'll take me more? I guess that kind of worked. Anyhow, if you could predict the future, if you could see the trends coming up, what would you do? Like, for example, if you knew that COVID was happening, would you be buying 3M stock, in late 2019, just so when all the mask sales for COVID happened, you'd make a whole bunch of money, or maybe more recently, you would invest in gas and oil before those things changed. But more than money, what if you knew what was going to happen? What if you could see ahead? We're looking at Acts 19 today, the later part of it, and there's a guy who can kind of see something happening. He sees that Paul has come to town in Ephesus, and he is a silversmith. And Ephesus is a place where they worship the goddess Artemis. And the silversmiths made a lot of money with people worshiping Artemis because they made little statues, little idols that replicated this goddess, this image of this goddess. And so he saw what was happening. And here's this guy named Paul who's saying, gods aren't made by human hands. And he says to all his other silversmith buddies, he's like, hey guys, we're going to lose a lot of money here. We need to do something. And then he even, kind of spiritualizes and says, oh yeah, and our goddess Artemis is going to be, offended or something. And so he creates a riot, and, Paul and his people are almost killed. They kind of, escape. But we can see how this, and I hate to call it a trend because it's not a trend, changes Ephesus and actually changes the world. And what is this trend, which I don't really want to call a trend? Well, it's Jesus. He's not a trend. Jesus is the most transformational person in these people's lives. You see, Paul comes to town and preaches the message of Jesus and shares how people don't need to worship these idols, these things made of human hands. They don't need to do that anymore. But in fact, they can have the one true God, the personal God, the one who actually wants to interact with them and love them and lead them to live in their lives. And that isn't just some trend. That is life transformational, city transformational, world transformational. And so understanding that and looking at your own lives, how has Jesus transformed you? Is he more than a trend in your life? More than just something that happened a few years ago or a few days ago? Is Jesus continually at work transforming your life? Take a look. Look how your life would be different without him and how it is different with him. And then share that. That's the good news today. That's what we find in Acts 19. Take care.